Hi everyone and welcome back to our AmpHub tutorial series. Today we're diving into the exciting world of rhythm guitar tones. So whether you're playing like pop rock or heavy crunch, getting the right sound is crucial to make your tracks stand out. So let's get started. First thing, let's talk about the foundation of a rhythm track. So the rhythm track is the backbone of your song, providing the groove and supporting the melody. So it's essential to match your guitar sound to the genre you're working on. So different genres require different guitar tones, we all know that. So for example, a pop rock track might need a bit brighter and cleaner sound, while a heavy crunch track might need like a thicker distorted tone. So understanding this uniqueness of guitar tones will help you create presets that fit perfectly in your mix. When creating presets, always also consider the band context. So your guitar shouldn't overshadow other instruments but complement them. So think about drums, bass, vocals, their frequencies and how your guitar mixes with those tones. So your presets should create space and enhance the overall mix, not create muddiness and create shadows on other instruments. One of the most common mistakes people make, for example, is using too much gain, which leads to a less clear tone and creates, once again, this kind of muddiness in the mix that it's very difficult to take out if you print a guitar tone really full of muddiness. So for example, another tip, often using heavy picks can take out some groove in the rhythm, but maybe heavier picks are most used in like some heavier rhythms, while thinner picks on rhythm usually help maintain a great groove, percussion, nice high-mid frequencies, and all these elements flow through the tracks you're recording. So it's very important, first of all, to choose the right pick for that genre and for that riff and for that rhythm. So let's start with something that has become very trendy lately, pop-punk tones. Let's dive into a Brit J800 that of course is based on a Marshall JCM 800, a true classic in this genre. My suggestion, once again, is to not overgain the amp, so note articulation is very important. When you hear isolated tracks in great records, they usually have more mids and high mids than expected, and those are the frequencies that most of the time annoying guitarists and let they think that their sound is maybe too much, like exposed in the highs or maybe harsh, but there's like a level until those frequencies are really important. Always think about the mix, since your tone will most likely be played together with the rest of the band. Let's hear the pop-punk sample. What do you think? I'd like to, first of all, to emphasize that everything you hear is not post-produced, but comes directly from AmpHub. So highlighting how it is a platform capable of delivering sounds that are quite mix-ready. In this preset, I used, as I said, a J800 amplifier and a 4x12 cab based on an orange PPC with greenback speakers, mic'd with a 57 and a 160, a combination particularly focused on mid-frequencies that works very well for this genre. We should always consider how important the cab block it is and how often it's a good idea to match the character of the amp with a cab and speakers that suit that type of genre. As you can see, I used the J800 with some more presets, some less bass, middle all the way up, treble all the way up, and preamp high at this level. I used, of course, the high input for this kind of genre, and I had the famous and classic T9 that is of course based on a TS9 overdrive pedal that helps doing all those things we just talked like some seconds ago. Above all, once again, don't be afraid to cut the lows and add mids and highs. You can see I did it also with an high pass in the cab block, But this is very important, and often remember, those frequencies that seem excessive on their own, like mids and highs for example, are balanced by other elements in the mix. For example, if you think that maybe you put some highs in excess, cymbals are balancing them, of course, till a certain point. Now let's move into creating heavy crunch presets in both the American and British styles. So the British sound has different characteristics from the American one. We can associate British tones with brands like Marshall and Orange, talk about like heavy sounds. So what do they have in common? Of course, the mids, the presence, the clarity, maybe less pronounced low ends, and usually EL34 tubes that help achieve that in-your-face tone and that straightforward sound. Instead, when we talk about American tones, we usually think about like brands like Soldano or Mesa Boogie and Peavey, and of course other brands too. So these generally produce like more surgical tone, like a bit scooped in the mids with more trebles, bolder and fatter than British ones. Usually American amps use 6L6 tubes instead of EL34, and that also like helps to provide more clarity and more definition. Of course, these are general thoughts summarized in this video to give you a quick idea of what these tones are. Now let's have a listen of the American patch that I've just prepared. Let's have a listen. So once again, no post-production involved in these sounds. I chose a Kali Dual Rect, as I told you, so it's based, of course, on the well-famous Dual Rectifier by Mesa Boogie, and you can't go wrong with these kind of tones. I'm on the second channel, as you can see, in the vintage mode, with like generous presence and treble, and slightly pulled back mids and lows. For the cabinet, I used the one that originally matches the amp, so a Rectocab 4x12, using a 57, so the classic among the classics, and just a touch of 122, so a ribbon mic, so this is a pretty classic combination. But make sure to not overdo with ribbon mics in this style, as they often give the illusion of enlarging the sound, but only alone. In the mix, the risk is to lose clarity, so please take care of this aspect. So I also added an overdrive in front, the classic TS9, that can help tighten the bass frequencies and give the sound the punchiness you've heard in many records. You can surely reach your goals in different ways, but I think that starting with the usual combinations gives you like a solid starting point to craft your personal tone. Now let's move to the British crunch and let's hear it. Once again, no post-production at all. So here I used the Brit J45, that is based of course on the well-famous Marshall JDM45, a classic rock choice. So I used it in the jumped version, as you can see, for more drive and support to the tone, with the bass and mids above halfway and highs pull a little bit back, since they are already emphasized by the cabinet that once again is the orange with greenbacks. Speakers mic'd with 57 and 160, always favoring the 57 for the balance between the two microphones. I tend to keep the 57 like slightly off center, but have the ribbon very close to the center to maintain clarity and definition. This is my like usual favorite choice, and I think you can't go wrong with these combinations. I also used a pedal in front of the amp, and it was the Golden Drive with these settings. I really like this pedal, and I think that like every other model, the STL Tones team made a great job like modeling it. It sounds so great coupled with the JDM45, really a nice sound. So my advice is always to keep in mind the focus of the project and the sound we are creating. So work and act with your ears, not with your eyes. That is so important. I think this is maybe the best suggestions I'm giving you in this video. Many times, extreme adjustments on one amp maybe sounds just fine. And there you have it. So creating rhythm presets with STL Tones AmpHub is all about understanding your genre and considering the band context. Of course, these presets will be available under my preset bank, the Giacomo Pasquale bank, and the nice thing is really that AmpHub is taking care of the entire process, delivering mix-ready guitars, so really ready to use with few like tweaks and adjustment all in one single interface. This is so cool in my opinion. So I hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, all things that you already know pretty well being now on YouTube. Happy playing, enjoy, and we'll see you in the next video.